Well guys, it's been almost exactly a week since we did the test run on the new 850J dozer. I have ordered some parts. They have come in. The goal for today is to make the engine and the operator run a little bit cooler. So here's what we got in our box full of goodies. This is the evaporator. I'll explain more what these pieces and parts are as we put them on. Keep in mind, guys, I am not an air conditioning expert by no means. I understand the theory of operation. I understand each piece and part, and I get by. So we're gonna kind of do this together. This is the evaporator. This is our main issue with our AC system. We'll find out when we get it out, but I believe we got a cracked line right in this region here. We got some new O-rings, because O-rings for air conditionings are a little bit different. We got an expansion block, hose, receiver dryer, pretty much everything new in the air conditioning system with the exception of a few hoses and some and the compressor. And I don't know, we may end up be putting those on before it's over with. Fingers crossed, I hope not. Also got a new outer and inner air filter. If you guys remembered, that was an absolute nasty disaster in there. So the goal is we're gonna get I think we're gonna throw the air filter and let's throw the air filters in first before we even fire this thing up. And we're right next to my go-kart track, and the flag stand conveniently is actually a repurposed man lift basket, and I think it's the right height because what we need to work on is up there, which is, I don't know, 10 feet off the ground. So if we could back that flag stand right in there, that would make that a lot more convenient. So before we even kick this thing off, let's get these air filters changed, and then maybe we'll nudge her up to the go-kart track over there and see what we got. This is a goofy little filter housing here. See if we can figure out how to, there we go. Live and learn, boys, live and learn. There's the outer. It is disgusting. There's the inner. It don't look horrible, but I got a feeling it may be the original, so we're gonna go ahead and change them both while we're in here. That thing weighs like a ton. Ridiculous, I tell you. All right, see if we're gonna get started off to a good day here. See if our first two parts we install are the actual right ones. Well, that don't look good at all, boys and girls. That's not even close to the right filter. Looks like we'll be reusing that one for today. Let's see if the other one's any better. Got a feeling they're gonna be a matching pair, so we're not looking good. Well, that's a disappointment. Not only is that filter much cleaner, it is also much bigger. I did not pull filter numbers off. I just called down there and ordered filters for an 850J John Deere. He says got them, picked them up, and well, let's just hope this don't set the tone for the whole video. So I guess we're gonna put old Dirty back in there long enough to back from here to there, and let's hope our air conditioning parts fare a little better. Bummer. Well, this old girl's been sitting here for about a week. I guess let's see how she see if she'll kick off this morning. Arno. My goal is to back right up to that thing square. Hopefully we can reach that air conditioner unit up there on the roof, so let's see how well this matches up. Gotta use all resources available, right? I got a feeling those cleats are gonna be a little bit hard on the old track, but sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. like that's gonna work out rather nicely, guys. It's probably borderline a little bit too high, but the old JLG man lift basket, she's not quite adjustable anymore. She's pretty much set into place. I wish I had a video on building this thing years ago, and I never did get it painted, but that was an extra basket off a man lift I have. That is left over. That's a canopy post off of a gas station canopy that we used part of it down at the market. There's a big old superstructure underneath there, and that kind of has it all counterbalanced. But that's our flag stand. It works pretty good. We've used it for years, and nobody's ever hit it, and it's an awesome view of the racetrack, and it works good for scaffolding when you need it. So I'm gonna round up a few tools, round up the rest of our parts. Let's tie into this thing, and hopefully these parts fit better than our air filter. Oh, bummer. All right, guys, most of the stuff we need to change is located in this area right here. I believe we take a couple bolts out and this folds down. I've never actually worked on this style system before, but I've seen it done before, so that makes me somewhat of an expert. So let's start pulling some bolts out and see what happens. So here's kind of the heart and soul of this whole unit, guys. It's a pretty neat little compact setup here. I'm kind of impressed so far how easy it is to access everything compared to some others I've worked on. But this is the condenser unit here. This is basically where the Freon itself gets cooled. Of course, here you got your blower fan. Now on the back side of this blower fan, which you guys can't see, it's right on the other side of that, is the evaporator, where the Freon actually cools you, which is what we got to change. This is the dryer, which is basically it's basically like a filter for the system, is the best way I know to describe it. Then right over here is our expansion block, which is basically where we go from high pressure to low pressure, which makes it cool. And we got a couple hoses right here. So what we got to do is, I believe what we need to do is we got to find a way to slide this box out so we can get in there to work on it. They got this goofy pipe down through here. It comes out the top. I got a feeling this is something to do with military. Like they had the option to put some fresh air or some treated air or filtration system on or something. I got a feeling that's military spec. That's not normal. But I think I need to pull this cover off over here, get some Freon lines disconnected, and some coolant lines. We got a heater core in there too. Let's methodically pick our way through this. We'll figure it out, boys and girls. We will figure it out. It's just nuts and bolts. It can't be that hard, right? Famous last words. We'll start with some of the simple stuff. I got the wiring harness unplugged. We got one plug that goes to the fans here on the condenser. Got another plug here. It looks like it goes to the main wiring harness on the machine. And there was a third plug. Where'd it go? Right here. And I believe it went to the high pressure switch way up there, which we'll get a better view of that here in a little bit. I also pulled this plug out of here. I don't know what this thing is for. It's got to be something military, but it is pretty crude. I think they literally just hole sawed to the top of the cab. They hole sawed right into the air box, and I'm sure it's got a purpose. I'm sure one of you guys will comment and tell me what it is, but I don't know. It's I'm assuming it's for some sort of external filter application, but I think what we're going to do, let's focus on getting everything disconnected on that side, and then we'll move over to this side. Plan. Maybe almost impossible for you guys to see, but there's one 10mm screw right between those two hoses. Looks like it's got a split style keeper on there, which holds that all together. So let me get that out of there, man. We'll kind of see what we got. Yeah, there's the keeper. See how that works? Pretty slick, really. And them hoses, yeah, just pull out of there. One's out, two's out. So that's got our AC hoses disconnected. The heater hoses are way back in there yet, but I think I can pull the whole thing out and maybe access them a little bit easier. So let's go to the other side. So this is the receiver dryer, the filter basically, and it looks like, I don't know if I should go ahead and bust the hoses off that thing and try to take it out with it all as one, or if I should just unbolt it from the box and we'll deal with it separately after we get this out of here. Decisions. I don't want to take anything apart unnecessarily. So let's just unbolt it from the box and see what comes loose. Yeah, we'll do it. All right, after studying this a little bit closer, I think we're making the right decision here. There's only one line I got to take off this thing. It's up here on top, but access to it from this side is slim. If this box was out of the way, I could get to it really easy from the other side. So we're gonna go this route. I should have that loose. I think at this point, I got 2 bolts up here on top, and I got a couple bolts down here on bottom. Let me get them loose, and we'll see if that thing will wiggle out of there. I find it hard to believe it's that easy, but I'm not gonna complain if it is. Let's see. Oh boy, she's warming up. Air conditioning would be nice right now. A little bit of a pro tip so you don't have to go backwards to go forward like I did. If you guys see, I had to put this back up because on the bottom side of here, there's 2 runs of bolts. There's 4 bolts here and 4 bolts here. That black box right there is what we're trying to get out. And back here, there's also 2 screws to hold the cabin air filters in. So, yeah, we got all those out. Let's go back topside. It's actually pretty comfortable right here. You know, it's hotter than Hades. Let's go back topside and see if we can get that thing wiggled out of there. All right, got 8 bolts underneath. There's 1 bolt on each top corner on both sides. There's a condenser drain line right there. I've got it disconnected on the outside. This thing should be, yeah, she's loose. So I'm gonna try to do, like to hinge that thing around enough to where I can maybe get to those coolant lines over there. So I think that's the only thing left holding it in there. Uh-oh, got you stuck down there. Some coolant lines right back there. How are we gonna get to those? How are we gonna get to those? That don't look like any fun. That's the only thing holding us at this point, I believe, is those coolant lines. Everything else seems to be pretty free. Hold on here, we got a line up on top possibly. All right, guys, this thing's been an absolute pleasure to work on until now. Now I believe we're gonna call an audible here and make an engineering improvement. That's what I'm gonna call it anyways, engineering improvement. I don't know if you guys can even see back there. There's 2 heater hoses right here. They go onto a copper heater core, and they're very hard to access, and they are stuck on there. I've blistered my hands, and I know for a fact I'm not going to be able to get them off there in that position without ruining the heater core. I'm not against replacing it, but I don't want to. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here. These are the same 2 hoses. Very easy to access right here underneath the cover. I believe I'm going to cut one here, cut one here. We'll put a splice in it. That way we can pull that thing out of there and assess that on the bench. I don't think a splice right there is going to be the absolute end of the world, and sure going to make life a lot easier. So let's improve on the design. Let's call it that. Let's call it design improvement. See if we can do this without getting wet. Come on. Oh yeah, got us some antifreeze. Guess that's a good sign we got the right line, huh? Now what is going on with this thing? All right, there's one. I'm gonna cut this other one offset from it a little bit so our splices aren't lined up. Come on. I want to cut that wire with it. There we go. There's the other one. All right. Let's see what should come out of there. This should come out. Them dang heater up. What am I stuck on? Look at that. Got it. There it is. She is out. That's them two connections I was telling you about that I could not get loose. I was afraid I was going to twist them pipes off. So I think what we're going to do is let's take this thing over to the house. We'll throw it up on the bench where it's air conditioned and we'll dissect that. All right, guys, we have made it over to the shop. Good news, the air conditioning is working over here. It feels good in here, don't it, buddy? So yeah, it feels good in here. That cold concrete floor, oh, it's so nice on my tummy. All right, so after studying this thing for a little bit, what we need is located right in here, some way, shape, or form. It looks like everything needs to come out the top. So we got a few 10mm screws here on top. Let's buzz those loose, see if we can get the lid off that thing and see what we got. Look at that beauty, folks. That's even if it wasn't leaking, maybe need to be replaced anyway. So it looks like from here we need to bust out these few little like 1/4 inches screws there, maybe two 10mm down here, and hopefully that whole assembly will lift out of there. There's the heater. That is nasty. Probably should have bought one of those too, but we're gonna attempt to clean that up. And here's the one we're looking for. Let that come loose. There she goes. All right. There she is. What a beauty. All right, I'm gonna try to demonstrate this to you guys the best I can. So right there, where that pipe goes into this manifold, it is cracked. So I got a little bit of soapy water on there. We put a little bit of air pressure on there and see if you can see it bubble out, but it's blowed out pretty good. Blowed out so bad it don't even bubble up, it just blows it off. You ready? Long story short, that is our problem, and this thing is toast. So just to recap how this works real quick, guys, and this is the same theory of operation for any vehicle, any car, any piece of equipment, anything. This is basically the way it goes down. So you got your fan right here. The air comes out of here and it blows through what they call the evaporator, which is this thing right here. When the air conditioner is running, that thing is cold. So as air goes through it, you got cold air, which is air conditioning. Now, that creates condensation, which drips down and runs off and goes in these holes right here. And if you guys ever see outside your car or your vehicle or your equipment, that water dripping on the ground, that's where it's coming from. It's just like a cold glass of Coke or Pepsi in the summertime, how your glass gets wet because it's cold from all the humidity. That thing does the same thing. It gets wet, drops down. That's normally when they get plugged up in equipment, because that moisture collects all the dust out of the air and then it clogs those up, which is what you guys kind of see here a little bit. So in front of it is the heater core, which is this thing right here. This takes engine coolant and pumps through it. And whenever you turn the heat on, it shuts that off, opens the valve to this, air blows through that, now you got heat. Pretty doggone simple. Now this little guy right here is called, whoops, I don't want to lose them two little screws. This is what they call the expansion block or orifice block. So if you guys see right there, it's restricted. So when the compressor, the air conditioner compressor, compresses the Freon to a high pressure, it goes through here. On the other side, it comes out at low pressure. And by going through that orifice, it cools. It's no different than like you guys ever mess with a helium tank. When you crank the helium tank, when it comes out, the tank will get cold. Same concept, or propane. A propane tank will freeze up too. So pretty simple little concept. This is actually a pretty neat little straightforward. Other than getting access to these heater hoses, what I was afraid I was going to do was break it back in here because I couldn't really get on those to pry. They're still stuck on there. So like I said, we made an engineering improvement on that. I do believe this is dry and mostly on the surface. I do believe I can get that cleaned up pretty good and reuse it. We got a new one of those. So I think at this point, I'm gonna need to pick up a few odds and ends. It's hotter than heck. I'm gonna take a little break here because it's actually on a Sunday. I'm working on this on a Sunday. This right here, if you guys see me pull it out, that's actually the thermostat probe. So that tells the system how cold the evaporator actually is to keep it from freezing up. But yeah, let me gather a few pieces and parts, catch my breath here, maybe get something to eat, and we'll start piecing this thing back together. Well guys, I'm hoping we're turning the corner here. I got all this cleaned up down here. This is a neat feature that you don't see on a lot of things. This is to help control the water. Obviously a bulldozer don't always run on level ground. So this is to keep the water in an extreme situation from going somewhere where it don't. So that was all caked with mud, just absolutely nasty. Got it cleaned up a little bit. This is our new evaporator. I believe it is the first piece that needs to go down in there. A little hard to do one-handed. It slides down those notches right like so there. Fits like it's supposed to be in there. That side's down. That looks good. Then the other, here's our heater core. Look at that. I got her cleaned up pretty good. Oh, got some water in it yet. But I can actually see through it now. I'm pretty comfortable with that. It's a lot better than what it was. Let's say that much. So that should slide right in front of it. All right, I'm gonna need both hands. Hold on. Boom. Just like so. Beautiful. So over here on this end where all these hoses come out, I was able to pretty much save this rubber gasket. I got a little bit of silicone to, oh, this goes in there first. Got a little bit of silicone to make up for the shortcomings of where we tore it slightly, but I did get most of it out of there. Pretty good shape. Oh, I don't want to get any dirt in there. Lost my rubber cap right there. Pretty important to keep this stuff clean at this point. All right, and this slides in here. That should. It's not a huge deal if you get an air leak there because it's on the pressure side, but basically you're going to be blowing cold air out into nowhere versus cold air into your cab. So tighter you can keep that sealed up right there. In theory, the more air you'll have going to yourself. So now that that's on there like that, pull this off. Got this pretty cool little clip deal. See how it's like two-piece? And it goes in behind that. And this slides in here like so. And eventually, I'll show you, that'll all get bolted together. And in theory, I think what the main purpose of this block here is to hold the expansion block on there, and it should help alleviate some of the vibration on those joints back there. I'm gonna go ahead and tighten that up. Tighten that up. One over here. Heater hoses are right in the way. And from here we install our 2 new O-rings right there. And then we got our new expansion block here. I'll save this tape because I may reuse it. You notice on one side these holes are recessed and on the other side they're not. That's because these Allen head screws go through there. So the screw goes through this block, through this plate, threads into that plate, and basically it squeezes this whole thing down together. All right, Gunner, so now we got to put our thermostat wire back down in there. You know what's left after that?
Nope, because I haven't been out here since.
You haven't got here to help me? We gotta put the top back on. Once we get the top back on, guess what?
We can bring it back over.
I think we're ready to go back over and put it in the dozer. Just like so, look at that. Guys, I believe we're about ready to head back to the dozer. Can you see down there? That's all sandwiched together, fitting real tight. I got this hose just laying in there because we got to mate it with the other one on the dozer. I went ahead and taped that hole off just to make sure we keep everything clean. Taped all the other end of this hose after we kept everything clean. We'll head back to the dozer and see if we can get her installed. You gonna put it in there for me? I bet you would if you could, wouldn't you, bud? Alrighty guys, we are back up here at the go-kart track, and unfortunately we are going backwards to go forward. This is one of those situations where whoever worked on this thing last, the devil is in the details, and you can really make the next guy behind you your best friend or your worst enemy. You know, this guy don't know me. Apparently he don't like me. So let me show you what we got here. I was going to replace this little hose here whenever I did my inspection on what I may or may not need. This was the only hose I seen that was a little bit questionable. So I thought we'll get that replaced while we're in there. Well, somebody has already replaced this hose here, which is this hose right here. Whoa, gosh dang it, which is a steel line. What they forgot to do, where'd my light go? Everything I keep dropping. Hold on, this has been the theory of the afternoon. All right, stick with me. So, if you guys look close at this other line over here, if you can see, it's got a washer on the bottom of it, and then it's got the nut. If you look down here, it's the same way. Hold on, let me get my light situated here so you guys can possibly see. All right, see right there how it's got, oh, hold on, right there. It's got the washer and the nut. Well, guess what? I guess they didn't think the washers were important on this one, which makes it extremely difficult to get that hose on and off there. I did manage to get the hose off, I did manage to get the nut off, and I dropped the nut down in the belly pan down there. It's just been a big old ordeal. So I'm not gonna screw the next guy. I'm gonna take the time to put the washers on there, clamp that pipe in there like it's supposed to be, because what I'm really afraid about is that thing sitting there vibrating and wearing a hole in it. And as much fun as I'm having working on this, I don't want to redo it again. So let me go see if I can round up a couple washers. We'll get that pipe secured, and then we'll see if we can get the box slid back in. All right, kind of running out of daylight here, but I made me a couple washers. I had to drill one out and make a flat spot on it. Hopefully we can get them in there. Let's see. That is mucho better. That line is nice and secure now. Not gonna vibrate around. Make it a whole lot easier to get the other line on and off. Got the new line right here. Let's go ahead and put it on, then we'll slide the unit in. All right, we got our new line on. Now it's time to see if we can get this beautiful mess slid back in there. Well guys, good news is I got her back in there. That was definitely a little bit more of a fight than I was prepared for, but we got it wiggled in there. Another set of hands would have made a whole lot of difference, but sometimes you just got to go with it. Sometimes you just got to go with it. But unfortunately, it is getting dark, sun's going down. I am running out of time, so I guess we'll have to resume this project in the morning. All right guys, we are back for another day of fun in the sun, and I am very unmotivated this morning. I think I said yesterday was Sunday. Today is actually Sunday. So I'm in kind of low gear, if you know what I mean. But we need to get this done. It's kind of part of being self-employed. It's just every day is a work day, unfortunately. But last night at dark, you seen us, we get this slid back, got the unit itself slid back in there. That went pretty well. What I'm working on this morning is getting these hoses hooked up to the expansion block. I did put new O-rings on, and that steel line goes in there pretty good. This one here is going to be a little bit more of a struggle, but what holds them in there, where'd it go? Gotta find it here, hold on. It's up here somewhere on my toolkit, right here. There's this little split washer thingy here. There's just not a lot of room for my hands back in there, and there's not a lot of room for you guys with the camera, but I'm going to do what I can. I think this is our last difficult connection to make, so see what happens. There you have it guys, everything on this side's hooked up. Refrigerant lines are into the expansion block. I got the coolant lines back there. We still got to put our splice in down here at some point. Got all the electrical hooked back up. I believe this side's good to go. Let's hop around to the other side. We got to get that receiver dryer in there and get everything on that side tidied back up. And I think we're getting close. I think we're getting close to giving her a test run. So this is our new receiver dryer. You guys can see it's got an arrow on it. Shows you which way the refrigerant goes. Yeah, I believe it's that way. But they also kind of got a dummy proof because the fittings are different. One's female, one's male. So it'll actually only go in one way. Before I get too carried away and bolt this thing off the machine, again, checking for dirt, and I do have some new O-rings on that thing. I'm gonna go ahead and put this line on there. I think it'll make our life a little bit easier here in a minute. Oh, gotta find the right wrench. Hold on. So at this point, guys, all the major new parts are installed. We got a receiver dryer here, we got the expansion block on the other end, and obviously the evaporator in between. I think we just need to get this thing tidied up. I'm gonna go ahead and get everything up here buttoned up. That way I can fold this back up, which should allow me to get to these bolts on the bottom here a lot easier. And also it'll give us better access to those heater hoses we got to splice together yet. So I'm gonna set you guys over here on time lapse. Let's get this top half closed up, and we'll get our heater hoses spliced, and then basically we'll pull a vacuum on the system and we'll kind of check our work, and I'll explain that here in a minute. Well guys, there it is all back together. I just kind of went for it. You can see my splices I got there and our heater lines. Everything went together pretty smooth. I did forget to put a condensate line on, so I had to sneak in here from the inside to do it. See, it was right there, condensate lines right there, which worked out pretty good because there's actually a filter that goes right here I didn't know about, and that thing was filthy. I got it on the hood of the truck here. I'll show you in a minute. So we're gonna fire this thing up. And what I want to do is we're going to pull it over there by my light tower. I got my generator right there. We got to pull a vacuum. We got to pull a vacuum on this air conditioning system. And that vacuum will do a few things for us. One, it'll tell us really quick whether we got a leak or not. Because if we can't pull a vacuum, we got an issue with something we did or another component of the system. But more importantly, what it does, I got a step stool out here on my track I need to get rid of. Hold on. Got all my tools picked up, didn't say nothing about my step stool. Alright, so I pulled that vacuum on there. What that does is it lowers the boiling point of the water, and it sucks all the moisture out of the system. Moisture is very detrimental to that air conditioning system. It causes it to like gunk up and do all kinds of crazy things. So we're gonna pull over here, grab some electric, pull a vacuum on this thing. We'll probably let the vacuum run for 35-40 minutes. Let it sit for a little bit, see if it holds. And while we're doing that, we'll gain access to the radiator so we can pressure wash it out. And we're also in the grass, so when we go to pressure wash the radiator, we're standing in a muddy mess called a racetrack. Let's go to the shop, round up some pieces and parts we need, and go for it. If you guys are wondering how come I just didn't take this thing to the shop and work on it, I thought about it, but even though it's close to the shop, I still have to load it up, haul it there. Then once I get there, it's just, there's a lot of projects in the shop, including Lieutenant Dan, so by the time I made a room for it, I figured this might be just as easy, and it wasn't perfect, but it was better than nothing, so it worked. It worked. Well, hopefully it works. We'll see if it works. Made it back, vacuum pump, gauges, extension cord. I believe I can just barely see it through that screen right there. The ports we need to hook up into are behind that panel. Let's buzz it off real quick, hook into her, and see what happens. All right, you guys can see right there, I got the hose hooked up to the low side. The high side is actually down here, which would be the red hose, not this one, there's one behind it. But the cap has broke off up in there. We don't have to have the high side hooked up for what we're doing. It'd be nice to be able to read, make sure the compressor's doing its job, but I don't want to create a problem by trying to dig it out of there, so I'm gonna leave it alone for now. Turn on our vacuum pump. Turn on our gauge here. What we want to see happen is we want to see that gauge start dropping down. Hopefully it does. There it goes. See how it's pulling down in the negative? It would not do that before whenever I tried this. It didn't do anything. So here's the real trick. If we shut this off, will it hold? It looks like it does. That means we at least have no major leak. So we're gonna let that run for half an hour, 20 minutes, evacuate that system really good. While we do that, let's see if we can get this front grill out of here and see what that radiator looks like. All right guys, not for sure how much you've seen or didn't see because my camera died here in the sun, but let me show you what we found. So here's what we got. From the outside, this thing looks beautiful. It looks like there's no issues whatsoever. You get down in here a little closer, and upon closer inspection, if you guys look real close, up high, somebody has attempted to pressure wash this thing before and has done a horrible job. They bent a bunch of the fins. And I can see daylight through here. You get down into the bottom half of this thing, it is just clogged up with mud, and if you look right there, it's absolutely caked solid with mud, not to mention all the crap down in here. Keep in mind, this thing, John Deere's done a good job of designing this thing. It takes like 2 seconds to fold this out and clean it out. You would think if they ran it through their shop, this would have been a pretty simple little deal for them to do, but I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and pull this fan off here. Get it out of our way. I got a special wand made for my pressure washer. I'm gonna run over the house and get it. That way we can get in here, make sure we get this thing good and clean and do it right. So let's go over here and check on our vacuum situation, see if it's holding steady. It's been running for about 45 minutes while I've been working on this. Look at that, she's still sucked down there good and tight. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna close this valve off. I'm gonna shut this down. We're gonna go grab us something to eat for lunch. And let that sit for about half an hour, grab the pressure washer. We'll come back and hopefully that gauge is right where we left it. Cross your fingers, everybody, cross your fingers. Just got back up here from lunch. This thing's been sitting for about an hour, and the verdict is, check that out, guys. It is exactly where we left it. That is a good sign. So I did go ahead and pull the fan off here. I'd love to take this thing off, to be honest with you. I don't think I'm man enough to handle it by myself, but if you guys look, let me climb down in there, I'll even show you. If you guys look, now that fan's off there, you can really see how stopped up that radiator is. You can even see all the stuff on the surface right here. And if you shine a light back in there from about halfway down, the bottom quarter of it is just completely stopped up. So I think what I'm going to do is I got my power washer here. I got old trusty out of retirement. If you guys haven't seen this thing before, this is my PTO driven power washer I built out of a scrapyard. I actually got an entire video over doing some work on it, but long story short, that's off the Mack, that's off a car wash we bought and tore down. That's off an old sickle bar there, but it works really good. I'm going to take the, what do I do with my other wand? I'm going to take the turbo nozzle here and get the big stuff out of the bottom with the long arm on it. And then somewhere up here, I brought up a different attachment. I've actually got, where'd it go? What'd you guys do with it? Hold tight, let me find it. Try here in front of my face, why don't you guys say something? But I've actually took a torch up and heated the end on this, and I've actually got this built cleaning out radiators. As you guys can see, I can get in there at a perfect 90-degree angle and spray in there. You gotta be a little bit careful. We do not want to damage the fins of the radiator, but it does take quite a bit of pressure to get it out of there. So let's fire this thing up and see what happens. See if we got pressure. Oh yeah. Since you guys here, see if you can keep from getting dirty. Still haven't even got to the radiator yet, guys. And look at that. That is just nasty. I did find an inspection cover down there I was able to get off to help let some of that stuff flow out of there. I'm gonna switch over to my 90-degree angle here so I can maybe get in there a little bit better. That long one was hindering me a little bit with the blade. So here we go again. Check that out, got that bottom cleaned out pretty good. Can actually see everything down in there. So now I think we'll actually start on the radiator. I switched over to a yellow tip, be a little bit more gentle on those fins. Gotta get close enough to blow it out, but don't want to get too close to where we damage the radiator. I'll set you guys here on the inside, see if you can see any goodies coming through. Well guys, I've been pressure washing on this thing for the last hour. I'm running out of time, out of patience, out of dry spots on my clothes. Definitely do not have the right footwear on for this, and I'm out of water. But before we call it quits for the day, I'm gonna charge this air conditioning system and see if it's gonna work. So first things first, we need to put a little bit of oil back in the system. So we're gonna do that first. And we'll put a little Freon in, cross our fingers and hope she's cold. Well, this is kind of the moment of truth. Not cold yet. See what's going on down here. I don't have a high side reading, but I don't know, from experience, based on today's temperature, we should probably be 35 to 40 psi on the low side. We're still a little bit low. We're about 15, which means we need some more Freon. So switch cans out, we'll check it again. There's the gauge, about what we'd like to see it. Go up here in the cab. Oh yes, that is, I know you guys can't feel it. That is nice and cold. Nice and cold. Oh, it feels good. Success, success. Well guys, as usual, one step forward, two steps back, I guess is the old saying. The air conditioner does work, but it does not work right. It works good for a couple minutes, then it cycles itself out. And the issue is these condenser fans are not running. I checked the fuses, I checked the relays, I checked the wiring harness. We got power all the way to the fan. So I'm beginning to think our fan motors are bad, but unfortunately I am out of time today. I got some other stuff I need to do, so we'll come back to this in another day. Hopefully we'll get those fan motors running and our AC will be top notch, just not cool, but cold. And we got the radiator all dried up. It looks pretty good. I just need somebody to help me get these grill sections back in there. I cannot lift that lower one. It is heavy, but that looks so much better. We're getting there, guys. Step by step, we are getting there. All right, guys, next day, and we got the radiator cleaned out rather nicely. That was absolute mess. Got the fan back installed. Oh, it goes this way, sorry. This is all the stuff that come out of this radiator area. It was plugged up tight. So I need some help getting this lower radiator section in because it's too heavy. All I could round up this morning is behind door number 1 over here. I need a short man. I need a short, powerful man. You know anybody?
Nope.
We
can get Gunner.
I know a short guy.
Yeah, Gunner's probably stronger though.
I'm trying to procrastinate because that thing is very heavy and very awkward. But
no YouTube magic on
I'm running out of excuses, so let's see if we can get her wrestled up in there. There it is, guys. With the help of Aaron, we got the grill all back in there, got the radiator all cleaned out. Still waiting on air filters to show up. We need to get the right air filters in it. And I did get a couple fans ordered for the condensing fans up here, the condensing cooling fans, I believe is what they're called. So hopefully they'll show up in the next couple days. We'll get that tidied up, and then we'll be done with this thing. Fingers crossed. A few days later, and we got a few more parts, guys. Let me kind of get you caught up to speed where we're at. Whenever we last worked on this thing, we realized we had some condensing fan cooling issues. One fan was bad, the other fan did not have power. So I have rounded up a new fan. I've got it bolted in here, loosely hooked up. I did have to change the end on it. I ordered off the part number there, come with a different end. I'm assuming it's some sort of universal fan. But somebody has replaced this fan before and has done the same thing. So the other reason the one did not have power is I found a burnt fuse down the dash. They are on separate circuits. They have their own fuse, they have their own relay. So in theory, we go flip on the AC in there. I don't even think we even have to start the machine. We flip on the AC as long as it's got enough pressure to activate the low side pressure switch, which it should if the Freon's still holding. Both of these fans should come on and run. Now these fans actually slide in these slots down here. I just got them laid up on top for testing purposes to see if it works. I also pressure washed out this condenser. It was just about as bad as the radiator. It's a miracle this thing worked at all. So let's flip the switch and see if we got some fan action. All right, key on, AC's on. I hear something going back there. Oh, check that out. That one's running, and that one's running. That is nice. All right, let's put this thing back together and see if we got cold AC now. And just like that, she's back together for the second, third, fourth, fifth, hopefully last time. So before we fire this thing up, make sure everything works again, we're gonna do what we started this video off doing, and I'm hoping I got the right air filters now. Let's go find out. All right, already changed the inner one out. That one fits good. Get the outer one in there. Don't that look so much better? Oh my goodness, that looks so much better. Let her breathe now. Get this goofy little, oh, hold on, wrong spot. down here. Get a clip. Perfect. Nice. Grill's in, all the gardens and filters and everything are back on, all the nuts and bolts are tightened up. I did get that one last guard back here good. Put that guard back on. The only thing we got left to do is fire this thing up. Come on. Cold AC, baby. Switch on, high. Oh, we're on heat. What we got? Oh man. Oh man. That's getting cold. I'm gonna sit here for a few minutes and relax. We're gonna see if it's cold in about 5 minutes and I'll check back with you guys. Now this is nice. I could get used to this. It's about 92 degrees outside. I got the AC turned down almost medium. I'm borderline cold. Nice and quiet cab, good visibility. I think Jerry may even enjoy this, guys. Everything seems to finally be working good. I don't have enough dirt up here to push yet to see if the radiator is good and cleaned out, but this thing is getting ready to get hauled out to its first big job. We got a lake/pond build coming up, so we're gonna put it through the paces on that one, but AC seems to be cold. All the gauges down there look good. I think we got it. I think we finally got it. I'm excited. I hope you guys are excited. So anyways, coming to you from the cold cab of the 850J Dozer. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, we'll catch you on the next one.